Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the OK Run Show. We're back. We're actually back together again.
We are so back.
We took a week where we had a rotating panel of guests because Shawn was absent, but we're back to our regularly scheduled program to talk about results. Shawn, kind of what do you want to, where should we start? We have some stuff kind of more from last week, but we
Yeah,
should
yeah,
still touch
yeah.
on them because they were some great
I'm gonna screen
performances that you
share here.
mentioned.
Can you
Um,
see?
I can see it, but I actually found out recently the people at home can't really see it.
Really?
Yeah, so it doesn't look the same for us as it does for them, and I don't know how to fix that. Um,
Is it small
yeah, I think so.
on
I think
their
it.
screen?
Well, I think it shows
Does
us
this help?
talking. Hmm?
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's kind of devastating. We're gonna have to
it
fix
is
that.
devastating. But
Well, anyways, Heritage Hall.
talk about it.
5A, 6A boys, 1724. I mean, cool. Um, 5A, 6A girls, Capitol Hill took that team title. It's a pretty small meet. 2029 for a freshman. Pretty good. OKC Storm, I believe. Who el- who else runs there?
Who?
No,
Where?
wait, hold on. That's the Tulsa homeschool program. Sorry.
Tulsa. Yeah, there. Well, there's two
Yeah.
that are the same. There's a Tulsa branch and a OKC branch,
Yeah, yeah.
which
All
can
right. Cool,
confuse
cool.
things. Anyway,
Um, 4A, 3A, 2AA boys. Cassidy took the team title.
not too
They scored
shocking
45
at
points.
Holland Hall.
Yep.
Not too shocking.
But Levi Haynes. From Community Christian 1539. Is this course legit? I don't know. Never been. Colin, have you ever been?
No, no, dude. I only raced out in the middle of
But
nowhere.
either way, good job. Isaac Anderson from OCS 1602.
Yeah, big performance, kind of a little bit out of nowhere. He's not
Yeah.
necessarily a name that I had mentioned prior to this week, but beating, Billy Mathis, Sam Rhodes, a lot of those other guys. Not a
hmm
bad day. Tate
Pretty dang
Mondon,
good.
not bad. Another guy that
Going
snuck
down
up there with
here.
those guys. Um,
Uh 4A, 3A, 2AA girls. Cassidy also won. They
Not
scored
too
62
shocking.
points.
Um,
Scout Snodgrass
yep, she's
1229
mm-hmm.
won it. That's about it for this meet. Moving on to not fantasy football. Lincoln, this is
Now,
the
how's your
Pinnacle
fantasy football
Conference.
team going? That's how what we really care about, Shawn.
I had a really bad week this week, but while I'm 4-2, and I think I'm about to make a trade that's gonna make history. So,
All right,
but
back
pretty
to
good. I'm
results.
4-2.
4-2. That's
Jaden
pretty solid.
Daniels is the truth. All right,
Okay,
Pinnacle Conference.
fast race. Well,
You want to talk about this, Colin?
yeah, we I can certainly talk about it. Lincoln Christian handled business. Fast times, not surprising times. These times
hmm
shouldn't surprise anybody. Bailey Woodrich running 11:42. Nobody should question the legitimacy of the course. She's perfectly capable of running that.
Yeah, she's also ran 18:13 through
Yeah,
5K. So.
exactly. Like she's plenty capable. This is seems pretty legit. Lucio Day's back to full form. She didn't have a great race at OSU. She was like their second or third athlete at the meet there. She's back. She's fine. It wasn't like she had an injury. No, she just had a bad day there. Good to see. Lincoln, that average is pretty strong. And their
What
five
did they average?
is a minute quicker.
12:21 average. Yeah.
Yeah. And their fifth girl is about a minute quicker than Paul's Valley's fifth girl. And
hmm
yeah, I think they'll win. Regent Prep looking very good in the 2A race. I have to wait to see kind of how Hooker's looking. They haven't raced it in a little bit. Scrolling down to the men's, again, another not too shocking result. Not super fast times out of the guys. The guys can certainly run quicker than this, and they have. Um, but again, I think Clay McKinney just kind of went out there, took care of business, won the race. Ty Brooks, Sammy Ferris, even Trevor Hacker and Gardner. I'm gonna say McAfee. I'm not gonna. It's not McAfee. Not like Pat McAfee. It's just McAfee. I'm gonna guess. Again, they had a very strong showing, but their
hmm
fifth guy being 17:03. That's hard to beat in 4A. That's so hard to beat in 4A.
Yeah.
So I kind of think they're gonna take care of business. They're gonna win it. Clay's looking very good in 2A. He has run under 16 a couple times. A lot of people in the class, not a lot
He
of people,
ran 15:27, and that's
at
been his like
Rogers.
kind of highlight.
I
Yeah.
also I feel like that always needs to be prefaced with at Rogers. There's been plenty of
Hmm.
people run really, really quick at Rogers and run
And
okay.
then
Because
not run
like
that
Ty
as
Brooks
fast.
ran 15:30 at Rogers. You know?
15:39, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he ran like 15:30s at Rogers. So it's a fast course.
Hmm.
But again, I think Lincoln Christian's a pretty good lock for 4A state. Clay McKinney, I give him pretty good odds. There's about one other guy that I think might be able to beat him. Not too shocking though, otherwise. But I think the big main event really was what happened today. Today we
Yep.
were there, we were live, we were in person for this. Big kind of upset on the
The
men's team title race.
JV Boys State Championship.
Oh, my bad.
Deer
Start with the
Creek
Deer.
scored 21. Yeah, this is what actually
This is
matters.
actually what matters. Sorry,
Deer
I was going
Deer
off
Creek
off
scored
base.
21 points. If you
Mm-hmm.
go to our site, we had the full interview with the entire Deer Creek team.
Very good
So
one.
go view
There
that.
was a lot of just perfect JV energy there.
Oh
They
yeah.
were everything you hope a
Quentin
JV team to be.
Quentin who's
Yeah,
he something like that.
Miller.
16:13. I can't prove this. I don't know this. That's got to be one of the fastest times that's ever been achieved by a JV athlete
Yeah,
that's actually a JV athlete. Because every
right.
now and then you'll get a kid who like maybe he's been hurt and maybe ran JV. But honestly, that I there's no way to prove it. Maybe somewhere in like our result database, I could draw up some kind of ranking.
It'd be
Sounds like a
tough.
hassle that I don't want to do personally.
I don't think there's
So
anybody. He is the
let's just go ahead
fastest
and say
eighth
it right
guy
now.
in state history
The
for
fastest
sure.
eighth guy in the history of our state. All right, maybe not, but close enough.
I would debate it. I bet I'd almost bet
Yeah.
on it because I feel like okay, we've always had some fast athletes at the front end. There's always been those.
Hmm.
You can name many
And
of
there's
them.
been very few teams where
There's
they're
been
like
very few. Yeah, they
five,
have the
6, and 7.
the
I
depth
mean,
of
what
Deer
comes to
Creek.
mind is maybe some like Deer Creek teams, maybe like a Jinx team
Maybe.
in the early 2010s,
Yeah.
maybe Piedmont, but this is Piedmont's eighth guy right here, and he was 16:35. So
Right. That's crazy. Anyway, we'll move
yeah.
on to something else at this meet.
But yeah, Deer Creek kind of
21
dominated.
points. Dominating
Piedmont was
performance.
second. Mustang was third. Edmond Memorial was talking a whole lot of mess about this. I remember that in our
They
comment
even
section and
bumped
on
Harry
our little
Wormiston down, the
questions.
800-meter all stater, to see if they
Hmm.
could knock him off, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's flip over to that
We'll go to the JV girls too, because we covered the guys. Not as much hype around this. Don't know why, but is what it is. Deer Creek girls also won. Emma Britton won in 2001, which is actually really dang fast too.
yeah,
Like I don't know where that ranks either in like top JV times in the history of JV in our state, but it's got to be up there because I don't know a lot of
gotta be. Yeah, I don't know.
eighth runners who are running almost sub
That's
20.
so hard to like look into,
Yeah,
but
now I'm like really intrigued to see if we even can, but we'll go to the varsity girls.
it was a pretty good race, and I think it went.
Piedmont won
I think this race
pretty
made
handily, but
this race to me made sense. It's how I
mhm,
expected it to be kind of run. Is like Natalie took it out. She knows she's the class of the field. She's just
yeah.
gonna go break everybody early and just take off and run. That's how she likes to race. And that's how she
Hmm.
did it. Emma Johnson kind of chased her for a while.
I think that's
The
a personal best too
yeah, which
by 5 seconds
that's a
or
great
three
time to
maybe.
go chase a personal best. It's a flat course. Good weather,
And then
honestly.
Claire and Brooke Collins once again, just like a duo right there.
Yep.
Sienna Collins, this is our first time kind of seeing her go against some of the other top athletes in the
Mm-hmm.
state. So 18:28 is pretty solid. What else do you see here, Colin?
Kind of a good jump out at Leah North to be ahead of
Yeah.
like to
Hmm.
be ahead of Deer Creek's one. Granted, Piedmont's
Piedmont's three
three,
or
which is
four.
crazy.
Yeah.
But that's a big jump even from what she ran when we were here at Deer Creek. 2 months
And
ago.
then their three also
Yeah, that's
1846.
some like pretty big jumps, I'd
They're
say.
gonna do.
Very,
I'm
very
assuming something
strong
else.
showing. Of course, Piedmont kind of they're so good and they're so deep too, because that's
Mm-hmm.
missing
Yeah.
one of the. Oh no, Emily Caldwell didn't have her best day, but look, Presley
No.
Finch is there. Like
Anna
it's
Caldwell's right
Anna
here. Yeah.
Caldwell still had a good day, but like Emily Caldwell, who's normally with her sister, pretty close, maybe didn't have
Mm-hmm.
her best day, but look, Presley Finch is there to fill in. Like that's
Exactly.
why I think
They're just tough to
Piedmont is
beat.
kind of the class of the field. They could lose a runner and still win. Now I think if they lose the wrong runner, if they lose one of maybe the
Mm-hmm.
Collins sisters, that might really hurt them against Owasso. But I think they can have their 5 not have a good day, and their 6 is a
Mm-hmm.
really good insurance policy, and that's rare. And we didn't see that in the men's side.
Yeah.
Piedmont was without, I believe, 2 guys, is what Dade was telling us.
This is
2 of their
very
top 5.
interesting
But
for state regionals because Deer Creek obviously took first, which wasn't really expected, but they were the number 2 team ranked
Deer
in the
Creek
state, so it's like not
is
crazy. But
Deer
you
Creek
got
right now.
Edmond Memorial
Deer Creek right
as
now
well. Go
is
ahead.
NAU a couple years ago. The last time they
Mhm.
won. The last time
Yeah.
NAU won was a year that everybody's like, no, NAU is probably not going to win it this year. They lost too much. Abdi Nur left, a lot of that stuff. And they're like, of any year, this is the year NAU shouldn't win. And then they won. And this is
Hmm.
kind of going to this season where like Deer Creek lost a lot. They're going to need some people to really step up. Like of any year for them to lose, this is probably it. It makes sense. A little bit of a rebuilding year, then they'll be back. They
Hmm.
didn't, they've got it. They still have
Yeah.
it. They are
And what?
still there. And
Mhm.
frankly, I almost would put them as the number one in the power rankings. This is such a big win that you have to move them to number one in the power rankings. I don't think anybody at Frontier Valley is going to have a performance that we go,
No, no one on
they're better,
Frontier.
or anybody else in 6A, Tulsa area. Because that's really all we're missing is Tulsa area 6As.
Hmm.
Like Deer Creek right now has the momentum to win it. Memorial, who ran phenomenally well
Heck of a
at
run out of.
at OSU. They ran phenomenally well at OSU. Ran a really smart kind of team race, and they still run like that. They're still so close between 1 and 5,
Yeah.
and Piedmont is just kind of falling apart. I don't know what it is. You can
Might have
speculate and
been just a
say
tough day. I
it could
mean,
be.
they're
It could be a tough
still
day.
like you can take Deer Creek, you can take them. If you say Piedmont's number one, Deer Creek's number one, you're
Yeah.
probably right.
No, and
Like it's a tough day,
Piedmont.
doesn't define it, but this is very significant.
Yeah, and
And
Mustang was
then
one
in
point
fourth,
away.
Mustang was 1 point away. If they're healthy, can they get
Yeah,
in the mix? I think it's more so what I'm particularly intrigued about is the top three. Because going into the season, like the first like September, we were like Piedmont's gonna win. But now it's kind of like, well, okay, who's gonna get top three? Is it gonna be Deer Creek? Is Piedmont? Is it gonna be a Memorial? Is it gonna be, anybody else?
I
Mustang.
think
It
I'm gonna
could be
be
interesting. Or like you got like BA, or like that Jinx squad's pretty good, or Sapulpa's good too, actually. Sapulpa's crushing.
Sepulveda's 5A.
No, they're not. 6A.
Oh, they're 6A. They're not gonna.
I'm
Yeah,
like 99% sure they're 6A this year.
I was pretty sure
But I also
they're
could
okay.
be capping.
Who knows? But anyway, they're not. Nobody in the Tulsa area. Uh, not even Jinx is going to be. I think the highest Tulsa area team third, maybe.
Yeah,
I think it's
I
going to
think so
come
too.
down to Piedmont Memorial and Deer Creek.
Yep.
I think that's your podium, most likely. Maybe a Jinx slips in there, especially if someone has a
Hmm.
bad day. But I think the momentum is so on the side of Deer Creek and even Memorial. And I
Yeah.
think Piedmont kind of, I don't want to call it peaking too early, but they kind of they had a
It's hard to
big
say
dump.
though,
They had a
man. I
big
mean,
dump,
they've had a heck of a
and
season.
they've had 2 guys get injured. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. Could just be obviously the growing pains of being a teenager going through high school running
Hmm.
is the reason they're injured. But like it's just that the momentum's not on their side, and I hope what this is a kind of a kind of punch in the mouth, because early in the season through RSU through the first Deer Creek meet, they look so good that I think, they kind of got over their skis a little bit, and we're, like, man, we're gonna win, we're gonna win. And I think this kind
Hmm.
of punch in the mouth is kind of what will hopefully get them to turn it on when it comes to state, is they kind of just buckle down and go, oh, we're not the favorites. They need to have the
Hmm.
mentality that they're back to being an underdog. You know, they they haven't been in 6A very long, so they get to come in here like, oh, we're the smaller team. We got a lot to prove, and I think that's fit them well, and they have kind of overperformed their ADM, if you will. They're not a very big school, but they still kill it. I think they need to go back to being an underdog, and I think this race puts them back into being a little bit of an underdog, and I think that'll bode well for them come state. I think it's a good storyline. I'm playing a
Yeah.
storyline here.
Yeah.
Talk about the individual race because it was fast. It was fast. They took it
Mez
out hard.
bars 15:02. I think he was about 4:43, 4:44 through the first mile, and they were 9:33 for the 2 mile.
Yeah. So
Pretty dang
440,
fast.
445 is not too crazy to run 15:02.
Mm.
Not too crazy. Not unheard of to run, because 15 flat is 448 average.
Yeah.
That'll run, let's say 442, 450, 5 minutes, 15:02. Pretty good.
Hmm.
I think he always, and this is why he's my number one guy in the state. I don't care what people say about Zach or what they say about whoever. He's my number one guy in the state because he just knows how to win.
Well, he for
Gets it
sure
done
is now.
he gets it done every single time. And this, I feel
Yeah.
like, proves the point that he should be the number one. Is okay, now he gets on a fast course on a fast day. It was great weather. Every guy we talked to was like, I love the weather. It cooled off. It was cooler than
Hmm.
it has been at any other meet so far. This has been the coolest kind of day for racing we've had, which is good. That helps a ton. This course is pretty flat for the most part. Couple kind of hairpin corners a couple times, but nothing too crazy. 15:02 is pretty legit. This is
Yeah.
number 2 all time on Oklahoma soil. We were doing our research, Shawn,
I mean, based off mile split results,
for
so
sure.
honestly, if it's not two, though, it's top five on Oklahoma soil. But then I believe if, according to mile split, it's like the fifth fastest time ever run by an
Period.
Oklahoman high school boy.
Okay.
Which also maybe there's some ones we're missing,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's top 10, so like who cares? It's
Who
still
cares? It's fast.
one of the greatest
Times
performances
don't
we
matter. He
yeah.
wins, and he wins against the
Yeah.
best. Now, Dominic Mathias took a little tumble. That should be kind
Which
of noted. He took a little
I think it should
tumble.
be noted more so because he would have ran faster, but he would not. I think it was over
He's
at
he's not
mile
going to beat
two.
Mez. He's not going to beat Mez. Mez,
No.
okay. Dominic and one of the Deer Creek guys. I don't believe it was Micah John. I think it was one of their others. Took the
Who was
race
in the
hard.
I think it no, I'm pretty sure it was him.
Oh, it was Micah John? I couldn't really see.
I
It didn't
believe
look like
so,
him at
yes.
first,
It
but
it was like the
they
first mile here.
they went the first 800. They had a big gap on Mez, and I think Mez is, again, he's the kind of the senior. He's very level headed. He's a
Yeah.
very smart racer, honestly,
Hmm.
because he knows that he's fit, and he knows they'll come back. He doesn't get worried when a guy opens up a lead in the first half mile. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
we still have, 5 more half miles to go. Like, he's
Hmm.
plenty of time. And he sits back and he runs it so well. And then later in the race, he just breaks them. And I think
Yeah.
this proves everything we've thought. He gets it done. He gets a good day and a good course, and he runs a fast time.
Hmm.
Phenomenal. Dominic's still a crazy
But I
talent.
mean, still, even with the tumble, 15:23,
No,
he's
phenomenal.
now run 15:18, 15:23. He's ran under 16 a few other times. So, heck of
Phenomenal.
a run. He's still in like that top group to potentially win state. It's going to be very difficult to beat,
For
I
sure.
think, Mez, but it's not impossible by
Yeah.
any means. So he's in that group.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you see here? I mean,
Noah Thayer.
third.
We
I
haven't got
think
to see
this,
a lot of him.
from what I've seen in this race, I think it was a heck of a race because he didn't panic in the beginning. They got way out away from him. He definitely, I don't know if he didn't necessarily like race to win, but he raced to place as high as he probably could have. at this
He raced
race,
so smart.
and he did just that. He started out good pace, picked him off, and fifth. I mean, that's his best time this season. Might be his best time ever, actually, because I don't think
Mm,
he ran that at state last year, or got close maybe. But
yeah, roughly that ballpark,
so
I believe.
that's good to see. Hopefully, I mean, he'll be at regionals, hopefully state. So
Yeah.
good for him.
I think if he's racing now, he's racing regionals in state.
Yeah,
Hands
I
down.
mean, you'd assume,
You'd assume.
so
Um,
Maxton, heck of a run.
such a guy that always gets overlooked, but he's won so many
He's ran
races
under
this year.
16, I think, twice already this year. So this is
Yeah.
his third time.
And it's a good to see
And
him. He got in a
fourth,
big race
heck
and
of a
ran
race.
fast.
And his teammate,
Yeah.
Logan Clark.
A guy I've
That's
never
a
really heard of.
good duo. It's just their 3, 4, 5 are not as strong. And
Oh
that,
yeah.
because their third, Dylan Moore, 16:31 is really good. But like,
Yeah.
and then it's 16:53, 17:06,
Yeah.
which
A little
that's a
tougher.
solid 5.
If that was in any other class, they could be state champions.
Hmm.
Or they could at least be very competitive in that class.
And
You know?
then what's next here? Micah
Yeah, I mean you can
John
go
from
down the
Deer.
list.
He
He
went
came
out
in
pretty
hurt.
hard,
Yeah.
but he even said in his interview that he went out too hard and he needs to adjust. Heck of a job from him. I think he's been hurt.
He was hurt at the end
So
of the
this like his
summer.
second race back. I think he's only ran twice this year,
Nah, maybe three.
maybe 3 times. But
Um,
that's huge for them to have him kind of 15:44 is pretty dang good.
yeah,
Can't what else here?
sophomore. Um, so kind of the big thing there. Yeah, you got hurt in the summer, but I almost think sometimes that works to your advantage because
Yeah.
assuming, from what I heard about his injury, it's an overuse thing, right? So he probably put in a pretty big summer up to that point. Gets hurt. That may have been a blessing in disguise. Had he been continuing on, it may have turned into something crazy and he may have been out right now. But I think a
Mm-hmm.
blessing in disguise there that like he's gonna run phenomenal. I think that was maybe a rest he kind of needed more than you'd ever care to admit. You never want to say like, "Oh, I need a rest," but maybe
Mm-hmm.
it was. And I think he's kind of reaping the rewards of probably a big summer. Getting hurt, had to take the foot off the gas a little bit, and then now he's back and he's crushing it. And I think that kind of
Mm-hmm.
proves that sometimes people kind of get in their heads about like, "Oh, I need to take some time off because of something," and he's doing great. He's back to doing great. Cam Langdon
Exactly.
looking better. Kind of like Cam is so good, but also like just as easily as I thought he could possibly be a top 3 guy at state, he could maybe be in the top 15 to 10. He's 7th here. You know, it's
What I
crazy.
also want to note before we move on down this list is that Deer Creek's difference, 15:44, in their sixth athlete was 16:06.
That's so hard to beat because they're so close together. And
Hmm.
they're when you're 5 to
And
1606.
if someone goes down with an injury, they have like 3 guys that could step in and still
Yeah,
do a heck of a
they do
job.
have the JV state champion on their team.
They do.
Yeah,
Who ran 16:13, who actually would have placed top 25 at this race.
such a ridiculous race. Such a
That's
ridiculous
crazy.
race.
That's
This
wild.
is
All
a
right.
crazy conference meet. What else is there? Is there anything else that was big we need to talk about?
Edmond North's won.
Yeah,
Madden Rutherford. I think that's a PR. I
I
think.
believe so. Down there.
Edmond Memorial though, we should probably talk about them. Camden McCool
They
was the
also run
one
a
in
fairly strong
50.
pack race.
There's Piedmont's one, 15:53. Not a great day for them, but we already talked about that.
Hmm.
15:50. Edmonds 2 was 15:57. 16:01. And then 16:20, 16:22. So if potentially these two athletes can maybe 16:10
Hmm.
ish, that puts them in a conversation where they're at least at this race, we're looking at the difference between 27 and 28 and then 21, 22 ish, which does matter. That would have put them much closer to Deer Creek, wouldn't have won, but
Yeah,
so interesting for that. What else do you see? Anything else?
that's kind of the big things. We touched on a lot of it. Um,
Hmm.
I think until Piedmont proves that they are fully 100% again, I think you
Mm-hmm.
put Deer Creek as number one in the like if you were to put a team ranking out, like Deer Creek's one, Piedmont probably two. I don't know if
I
Ed
actually am
Memorial
gonna
did
put a team
enough.
ranking out, I think, so I'm probably gonna have to
I don't
look
know
at
if
that. But
Memorial showed us quite enough to be like just
I
kind of the
think that we
whole
already had top five in the last rankings that we made,
Memorial
though.
should
So
be like third. I don't think they should slip even to 4 or 5. No,
I
no,
think the only
they're
one was because our team rankings are based off, at least still, are the whole state. We'll probably release a team ranking for each class during regionals
we
ish,
will around
possibly,
regionals.
most likely. But right now, I think the only teams that compete would be Lincoln and Bishop Kelly
Yeah, that are not 6A.
because they're not 6A, but
Mm-hmm.
like for right now in the whole state, if you were to take every team, it'd be Deer Creek and Piedmont, and then there's Lincoln, there's Bishop Kelly, there's Edmond Memorial, there's
I
like one
still
other
think
one.
you would go.
Blanking on.
Mm, I think right now you would go personally. If I were doing the rankings, I Deer Creek's my one, Piedmont's my two, Memorial's three, Lincoln's four, Bishop Kelly's probably five, Mustang six, or interchangeable with kind of those three: Lincoln,
Yeah,
Bishop Kelly, Mustang. Those can kind of be interchangeable there. And then like a Jinx is probably also in that kind of same group. There's almost tiers. You have kind of a
yeah,
Piedmont, Deer Creek tier. You have Memorial one tier down, and then there's a big tier of like Lincoln Christian. There's your Bishop
like
Kelly. There's your
five,
Mustang.
six schools
Jinx is
probably. Yeah,
in there. There's just so many teams that I
somebody
think could
else that we're
be
not talking about. Yeah,
if we hypothetically at the state meet lined all of these teams up, you kind of flip a coin of which ones would finish where. But I think the
yeah,
other tiers are pretty settled. Like you can flip a coin between Piedmont and Deer Creek, assuming Piedmont full health. That's a different story.
hmm
But if they're not fully healthy, then it don't matter. It's who you put on the line on the day. And if they can't get guys to the
yeah,
line, it doesn't matter. And today they
yeah,
didn't get guys to the line. And turns out they don't win when they don't get all their guys to the line. But if they can figure out to get the guys to the line, it might be a different story come state. And that's what makes this interesting. Is state's not a foregone conclusion. And I love that. Last year, a
hmm
little more of a foregone conclusion of Deer Creek was gonna win. This year, Deer Creek can win it if nobody got healthy that's hurt right now. Deer Creek for sure. But I also think power rankings should be a week to week thing. And this week, they look the best. They
yeah.
beat everybody that's top contenders. They should go to number one. Mesbarth should stay number one. That's my 2 cents on rankings, I guess. But yeah. So
That about covers it, right?
10 the show. Shawn, what's your life advice for
I
the
didn't know
kids?
this, bro.
Life advice
I
for
feel
the
like I
kids
said
with
I
Shawn.
need to like go back and listen
No,
to
you're
all
good.
of our
Hey, if
last.
if you repeat something, it must mean that it's a worthy piece of advice. If it's really hitting your heart, then I want you to say it.
Hmm.
Speak
Hmm.
on what's on your heart. What has the Lord placed on your heart this week, Shawn? Speak to that.
Yeah, I got you. Got
Let
you.
him guide you. You're good.
Dune Part 2 is a top three science fiction movie of all time. And if you say otherwise, then yeah, that's my piece of advice. Believe
That's
that.
opinion, not advice.
I said to believe that. That's
Oh
advice.
yeah, right.
Believe that
If you
fact.
just put the word believe in there, it's advice.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
gonna
if you
be it
believe
for
you're
this
not
one.
doing something wrong, it's not illegal.
Actually, here, I got a book, Matthew McConaughey.
Oh,
Let's open
okay.
it up.
Is your advice to the kids that they should read?
Well, yes, definitely read. That's
There you
actually
go. That's
great piece of
advice.
advice.
That
But
counts.
but hold on. This is a quote from Matthew
Oh,
McConaughey,
all
not
right,
me.
here we go.
The art of running downhill. Don't trip yourself while running downhill. That
That usually
mountain you
helps.
want to climb, it's just around the corner. Don't invent drama. It will come on its own. Thanks, Matthew McConaughey.
Thank you. All right, all right, all right.
All
Thank you.
right.
All right. All right. Yeah, don't trip running downhill. That's the life advice for the week.
Yep.
Usually helps your running when you stay on your 2 feet. Ask Dominic. It definitely would have helped him today.
Yep.
Give him a hard time. It's okay. Anyway, that'll be it. And on that bombshell, I think it's time to end. We will
Peace.
see you guys in about a week or so.